Remember that time last year when I made a video about obscure cartoons from the 2010s? You don't? Yeah, you're a new gen, pal. Go and learn your 5 times tables or something, poopy head. In that video, I actually foreshadowed the existence of this video. I might make a sequel to this video. I'll also make another follow-up video talking about forgotten 2000s shows. I will be discussing obscure cartoons that were released in the 2000s. Most of the cartoons I'll be talking about are even older than me. That makes me a hypocrite for calling some of my viewers new gens like a minute ago, but shut up. I'm still part of Generation C. I'm definitely talking about obscure cartoons again because the video discussing obscure cartoons from the 2010s did pretty well for my channel and got boosted by the algorithm for some reason. Seriously guys, watch my other videos. I'm begging you guys. What's different in this installment is that I will not be doing any rankings of the shows themselves like I did in the last installment. Some of the cartoons I will be talking about in this video will be recognized by some of you guys watching, but they are still pretty niche and not talked about as much compared to a show like Phineas and Ferb, which started airing at the same decade as those obscure cartoons. This video will obviously be harder to make than the other video as I know less obscure 2000s cartoons, but this is my video that I did want to make, so what's done is done. Alright, so the first obscure cartoon that I'll be talking about is a Disney cartoon from the early 2000s called Filmore, which was created by Scott M. Gimple. It started airing on ABC in 2002 and ran until 2004. The show centers around two 7th graders named Cornelius Filmore and Ingrid Third, who solve crimes and mysteries, and they are involved in a group in their middle school known as the Safety Patrol. The show was heavily inspired by police dramas. Now this cartoon is one that I do not remember watching as a child because it didn't air reruns at the time I was watching Disney Channel and Disney XD. So this will be my first time watching the show solely for this video. I was able to watch an episode of the show on YouTube for free. This is one of the few Disney shows that get full episodes posted to YouTube, since those YouTube videos don't get blocked by Disney. I didn't mention that Disney does not post the full episodes themselves, which honestly shows that Disney does not give a fuck about Filmore and those other shows, and that sucks honestly. The show was put on Disney Plus in my country in 2022, but eventually it got removed from the streaming service due to Disney being Disney, I guess. They probably removed it for tax write-offs or something, which is an example of shitty business practices. And it's a shame that Gen Alpha won't probably get to see the show because it's actually good. The show has a pretty good intro that matches the crime-solving theme of the show. The art style and animation is pretty good, and the voice acting is pretty neat. The episode I watched revolved around the main characters solving a vandalism case in the school bathrooms and trying to find a vandalist through different antagonists in the episode. The execution of the plot was good, and the episode might convince me to watch the show in my spare time in the near future. Sadly, for some reason, this is one of those Disney shows that were left in the Disney boat. While yes, they did put the show on Disney Plus, but that was only in my country, and they removed the show from Disney Plus, and they refused to put the show on Disney Plus internationally, and they refused to put it on some digital platforms like iTunes. That blows honestly, cause at the time the show was airing, it was a hit and had some sort of fan base then, and those kids who watched the show at the time are now adults, and sometimes adults would want to watch a show from their childhood that still entertains them and is a form of comfort that reminds them of simpler times. Like, look at the state of our world nowadays. Childhood cartoons like this stop people from committing suicide. Hopefully Disney will actually lock in and release this show and the next show that I am going to be talking about on Disney Plus. Speaking of the next show I'm going to be talking about, House of Mouse. This was one show from my childhood that I remember watching when I was super young. I remember watching it on this channel called Disney Cinemagic back in 2012 to 2013, which is a channel that only existed in Europe. Man, I miss Disney Cinemagic so much. Anyways, the House of Mouse is a Disney crossover comedy cartoon that is about the iconic mascot himself, Mickey Mouse, who hosts a club in a place that looks like a hotel that showcases funny cartoons and other stuff that is shown to many characters from classic Disney movies. The show originally aired on ABC and Toon Disney in 2001 and ended in 2003. I'm honestly sad that they ended the show so early and proceeded to treat the show like shit, and that's sad. I loved this show. I even think it's better than beloved Disney TVA shows like Amphibia and The Owl House. I definitely don't think it's better than Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls, but it still makes it on my top 3 Disney cartoons. Hell, top 3 Disney shows in general. I am just so infatuated with the entertaining storylines from episodes of this show. I love the cartoons that they show throughout every episode. The comedy in this show is hysterical. It's even funnier than most adult animated comedies in my opinion.
Hi, folks! Boy, we got a very special show for you. It's open mic night.
Good idea, Mick. Finally, I'll get a chance to show your audience some real comedy.
Oh, I didn't know they made a film of your last date.
I love how they made Pete an antagonist who wants to take over the House of Mouse. Plus, they didn't have to make the theme song slap as hard as it does. They have not released the show physically or digitally at all, despite it having some sort of a fan base. No Disney Plus drop, no iTunes, no nothing. They will hold Pixar at gunpoint as a method to make 1 million more Toy Story sequels, but they will refuse to release this underrated great show and some other good shows on Disney Plus. Typical Disney. The only reason why this show is not lost media is because fans on the internet posted full episodes on YouTube, and to be honest, without my country existing, you probably wouldn't have gotten access to seeing the original English dub of House of Mouse episodes in 720p resolution and in widescreen as well, so you yanks watching the show better appreciate us for that. It's honestly sad that now Disney isn't really doing shit with Mickey Mouse nowadays ever since the Paul Rudis era ended, but I'm gonna save that rambling for a future video that I'm gonna make in 2028. Also, don't ask why that video is gonna come out in 3 years. You should already know already. I honestly wish this show was more talked about by communities online, because it is heavily underappreciated and it deserves love. Like, Disney is acting like a deadbeat father to the show, so we should give it more attention. Man, if this show was still airing new episodes after 2003 all the way to now, we could have got fucking Lightning McQueen in the show. That's one crazy thing to think about. Ah yes, another cartoon that I remember watching when I was young. Well, I got to watch it on YouTube though. At the time I was watching it on YouTube, this time was like 2013, 2014ish. Yeah, at that time it never aired on TV in my country anymore. Anyways, Gloom is a Canadian animated series that premiered on YTV in 2006. It follows the adventures of a ragdoll-like girl named Gloom and her friends. I recently discovered the show in late 2024, and only after a couple rewatches of some episodes did I actually remember that I used to watch the show back in the day, and I honestly kinda liked it because it has a nice art style and the show has charming characters and storylines, and genuinely is the definition of a comfort show. Misery is honestly my favorite character of the show, like she's such a mood. Full episodes of the show were posted on YouTube, so if you're interested, then I'd advise that you should watch the show in your spare time. I forgot to mention that the theme song slaps. Our last show that we'll be talking about is Bunny Maloney, which is not really appropriate for children, but was advertised to them due to some Moonscoop executives being dumbasses. The pilot of this show was aimed at an older audience, but those executives made the show a kids show, and the end result is a so-called kids show that doesn't even have innuendos, just unfiltered suggestive jokes.
Okay, time for your next sex education class. So then, number 4.
Even in France, this show was deemed too adult-oriented for a child audience, and yet the distributors from Moonscoop fucked up and promoted the process of the survival of the species to little Timmies around the rest. My country at least got it right after it first aired in my country, and put it on a block named Teenage Kicks a couple months after the show first aired. I think, I don't know, I wasn't really watching Kicks at the time. The show literally came out the same year I was born. Of course I was not watching Kicks around that time, so how should I know when the show was put on the block? Anyways, how I discovered this show was from an out of context type video that contained one of those suggestive jokes from the show that not even the holy trinity of Cartoon Network shows would get away with. This show is the main reason why I wanted to make this video. The reason being because the story behind its development is very intriguing. I also kinda like the show, it's quite funny. The show is a French animated series about Bunny Maloney, who lives in an apartment with his girlfriend, Candy, and his friend Jean-Francois, who is probably one of the most adorable and charming characters in fiction, period. His friends literally treated him like shit in one episode, and I genuinely felt sorry for him. The villain of the show is literally just a mini version of Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He has beef with Bunny, and pretty much every episode, Bunny and his friends follow his mischievous schemes. There's one Tanuki in the show who literally looks like the Kanye graduation bear. I love to clown on the French as a joke, but man, does the show's theme song go hard. It's one of those theme songs that I just listen to on loop sometimes. Bunny Maloney got an online resurgence last year, and apparently some episodes of the show are lost media. The lost media community is very committed, so hopefully they'll find him. They weren't able to make a season 2 of Bunny Maloney because the production company of the show went bankrupt. That's it for the video, I guess. Subscribe if you haven't or something. By the way, I'm mad at Disney for not putting House of Mouse on Disney+. Chibi Bear's got nothing on House of Mouse.